For over a decade, it's been my honor to celebrate our friends of laughter who left us in the past year, and we're going to honor them right now, today. Jimmy Nelson, at the age of 9, little Jimmy Nelson was given a life-changing gift, a ventriloquist puppet. In the early days of television, Jimmy, with his assistants Danny O'Day and Farfel the dog, not only made audiences laugh, they even created hilarious commercials. And Jimmy shared his skill with the world, with his very popular album showing how you too can be a ventriloquist. CAROLL SPINNEY, another amazing puppeteer. CAROLL SPINNEY delighted the children of the world as Oscar the Grouch on Sesame Street. But as the most beloved puppet of all, and certainly the tallest puppet of all, was Big Bird. He was 8 foot 2 inches tall. CAROLL drove Big Bird from the inside using his hands, wires, and a TV monitor to guide him from place to place. Lee Mendelson was a producer responsible for bringing A Charlie Brown Christmas to television. After it was completed, the network executives just hated it. They said it was much too downbeat. They'd probably air it one time and never show it again. Well, as much as I hate to question the wisdom of TV executives, A Charlie Brown Christmas has been shown every year on TV since 1965. Rip Torn. With a name like that, you just knew he would give ripping performances every time. And he really came through as a hilarious, unforgettable producer, Artie, on the Larry Sanders Show with Gary Shandling, winning an Emmy and stealing just about every scene he was in for over 6 seasons. Buck Henry. Both a wonderful comic actor and writer, Buck Henry wrote us years of laughter, starting with Mel Brooks as his co-writer to create the spy spoof Get Smart. And wouldn't we just all love to have a cone of silence right about now? He performed Saturday Night Live sketches with Gilda Radner and John Belushi, including John Belushi as the samurai optometrist, and even wrote the screenplay for The Graduate. Yes, that's him here, trying unsuccessfully to ring the bell. Doris Day. Doris Day was one of the top box office stars of the 1960s in a series of romantic comedies with co-stars James Garner, Cary Grant, and Rock Hudson. But her greatest love of all was animals. She became known as the dog catcher of Beverly Hills and made sure any stray animal found a good home and ultimately created an animal foundation, telling one interviewer, you know, there are things you get from the silent, devoted companionship of your pets that you get from no other source. And now we honor 3 wonderful performers who brought humor to music, starting with Leon Redbone. From his first appearance on Saturday Night Live in his Panama hat and white suit, he looked like a visitor from another time, bringing hilarious old songs from the past to new generations. He might lead the audiences singing Polly Wolly Doodle, saying, you know, this song's more than 100 years old, so you've had plenty of time to learn it. Highly original to the end, his website reported his death by saying he finally crossed the Delta to that beautiful shore at the lively age of 127 with his guitar, his trusty companion Rover, and a simple tip of his hat. John Prine. John Prine had been a mail carrier who created songs every day on his mail route. And one day, the film critic Roger Ebert wandered into a club where he was singing his songs. Ebert wrote his first concert review, calling it Singing Mailman Who Delivers a Powerful Message in a Few Words. His unique voice and offbeat humor made each song delightful. He said what he always found funny was the human condition. He'd licked cancer twice, but he lost him this year, unfortunately, as we have so many others to the COVID virus. Thankfully, we still have his music. Little Richard. No modern musician brought us so much joy and energy as Little Richard. With songs like Tutti Frutti, Lucille, and Good Golly Miss Molly, he made us both rock and laugh. Paul McCartney tried to imitate him, but no one could duplicate Little Richard. This year we lost 2 of the stars of the wonderful Mary Tyler Moore Show. Georgia Engel, who played Georgette Franklin. She was the girlfriend and wife of TV newsman Ted Baxter. We also lost Valerie Harper, who played Mary's neighbor Rhoda and won 4 Emmy Awards. Fortunately, the Mary Tyler Moore Show still brings us delight thanks to reruns on cable and online. Ken Osmond. He was the one, the only Eddie Haskell, For generations of viewers watching Leave It to Beaver, Kenny Osmond's portrayal of used humor. And he prepared us all to prepare for the Eddie Haskells we might encounter in the real world. Jonathan Miller. He was often called a Renaissance man. Usually he claimed by people unacquainted with the Renaissance. He was trained as a medical doctor, but interspersed his medical work with comedy and also opera and drama. He performed in Beyond the Fringe with Dudley Moore and Peter Cook, then directed a variety of productions, including Taming of the Shrew starring John Cleese. Whether on stage or in print, he said he could never resist whenever someone invited him to just come out and play. Clive James, yet another very funny and an erudite writer and performer who delighted British audiences for decades with TV specials, sharing his travel misadventures and clips from the most absurd television series from around the world. He wore his learning lightly, writing hilarious and pointed criticism and poetry and, well, just about everything. He is unknown to many Americans, but he was a giant, and you can still have the pleasure of his company in print and on YouTube. Rip Taylor. Rip Taylor, the king of confetti, the prince of pandemonium. He would do anything for a laugh. Who would have guessed that a teenage congressional page would grow up to toss confetti and one-liners and two-page jokes to audiences for decades? The sheer comic energy he brought to every performance quite literally stole every show. Robert Provine. He was a professor of psychology who studied laughter. He and his student researchers eavesdropped on conversations in public places to try to find out what made people laugh in everyday life. He found out that positive laughter was a way that we bonded with others. It wasn't about joke telling, it was about finding just ways of bonding with our friends. Larry Ventis, professor of psychology at William & Mary, who researched how to use humor in helping people overcome their fears. He too was taken from us too young as a result of the COVID virus. Two wonderful British comedy greats left this year. Neil Innes wrote hilarious songs for Monty Python and even did the whistling part of Always Look on the Bright Side of Life. He teamed up with Eric Idle to create a parody featuring the rock group The Ruddles, calling them a musical legend that will last a lunchtime. Terry Jones. He not only was one of the founding members of Monty Python, he actually saved the shows from extinction. He had got the word that BBC was ready to tape over old episodes, and he and his colleagues snuck them out and made copies that preserved them for himself and for us. Jerry Stiller. He was first known to audiences in comedy sketches with his wife, Ann Mira. As he grew older, he found new audiences as the hilarious, outrageous Fred Costanza on Seinfeld. And yes, Jerry and Ann are the parents of comedian Ben Stiller. Tim Conway. As a boy, he dreamed of being a jockey. Fortunately for us, he took a different course and decided to make us laugh for a living. With Ernest Borgnine, he appeared as bumbling Ensign Parker in McHale's Navy. But he will perhaps be best remembered for the Carol Burnett Show. When he teamed with Harvey Korman for any sketch, the result was comedy gold. Fred Willard. This beloved comic actor brought delightful zaniness to every film or TV show he appeared in, including Best in Show, Waiting for Guffman, Fernwood Tonight, and This is Spinal Tap. His comedy energy brought hilarity every time he appeared anywhere. During the past year, we also lost two wonderful, inspiring members of AATH who have been Lifetime Achievement Award winners. Kay Kasky, who had been inspired by the work of Norman Cousins. Later, she and Laura Young toured the world, helping people learn to manage their stress with humor and positive energy. And Patty Wooten, compassionate clown and compassionate human being. She inspired so many people to help use humor to lift the spirits of their friends and their patients. Thank you to all of you who basically gave us so much laughter and joy. Your lives gave us laughter and joy, and they continue to give it to us now.